Good morning, students, and welcome to the class. Students, this video is for paper 6th, Poetry and Drama, Victorians to Moderns. Students, in this first class of paper 6th, today we are going to discuss very briefly traits or features of Victorian England. What was happening in English society, in political, social, and economic sphere, how Britain was doing at foreign fronts. We are going to discuss all these things very briefly because authors, writers, poets, dramatists, novelists, in whatever age, time period they live, they definitely get affected by their surroundings. So let us discuss the Victorian era. All of you have heard the name of Queen Victoria, and now we are going to look how England looked, how it appeared, how it behaved socially, economically, and politically at this particular era of British history. So, first we will briefly discuss the historical background of this age. Students, you must have heard or read in your political science or history classes that in this era, England was moving steadily in the direction of becoming Europe's most stable and prosperous country. The Industrial Revolution, railways, steam engines were being used in mines, factories, and ships. Small towns, now they were becoming centers of manufacturing industries. And all these changes were taking place under a government and legislature that was still narrowly restricted to the privileged few who were wealthy by birth or becoming wealthy in commerce. Society in England at that time was still effectively feudal. A small agriculture community was still more or less governed by the landlord or lord of the manor, to whom rents were paid by the tenants of farms or cottages. Now, students, you all have heard about Industrial Revolution, and this revolution, the process regarding it began in the middle of 18th century, and it covers a wide period of more than a century. Britain became for the first time the richest country in the world, but at the price of being the first to encounter the immense social problems that arise from the rapid development of urban industry. Students, if we discuss the transport, in the 16th century, the care of the roads was in charge of country parishes under the supervision of the magistrates, but the work was neglected. But in the second half of 17th century, the turnpike system was introduced to transfer the cost of road repairs on the road users. And we will see that the Great Revolution came with the steam railways, which was more economic and made extensive travel possible. The formerly enclosed regional cultures lost their self-sufficiency so that British civilization became more uniform. Urban growth was another feature of this era. The agriculture revolution had important effects on British society. New methods of farming made it profitable as never before. This rapid urban growth was, of course, produced by the development of new factories operating with steam powers invented by Watt. and such other discoveries as battery by Volta and the textile mill by Cartwright, and to the spread of railways in 1830s and 1840s. Growing economy was a major feature of this area of Britain of Victorian age. Economy grew from 1846 because of free trade. Salaries were low and therefore industries became more competitive in terms of exports. The basis for this growth were three components: coal mining, iron foundry, and the cotton industry. And students, in this era, we see a change in women's social role. In the middle of 18th century, there was a fashionable circle of women intellectuals known as the Bluestockings in London, led by Mrs. Montagu. At the end of the century, Mary Wollstonecraft made her well-known appeal for women's education in her seminal work, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, that was published in the year 1792, a right not recognized until the State Education Acts of 1870 and 1902. Men of letters often had a circle of close women friends with whom they corresponded, and some of them, if I name them, were Swift, Alexander Pope, Richardson, Samuel Johnson, etc. Boarding schools for girls like Miss Pington's Academy that we see in Vanity Fair were being opened in increasing numbers. Women of strong character began to open up professions hitherto closed to them. Now they were writers, journalists, and nurses. In this industrial area, they began to achieve economic independence at a low level as workers in factories. The Married Women's Property Act of 1882 and 1892 removed the husband's control over his wife's money. Yet political changes did not take place until the First World War, when in the year 1918 Act allowed women over 30 to vote. Women over 21 had to wait until 1939. Another feature of this era was that economic and political powers of middle class increased. Thanks to the industrialization, the increasingly powerful middle class became a large and a very rich class. In spite of this, at the beginning of the 19th century, politically speaking, they were an underprivileged class. The system of electoral representation in parliament was an ancient one and favored landed society. The middle class fought hard and victoriously in the first half of 19th century to secure political representation to which they were entitled. Between the rich middle classes and the workers, a very large lower middle class existed. Its members populate the novels of Dickens and H.G. Wells more than the members of any other class. Its bulk was the large number of small traders brought into existence by the extensive consumer society which the Industrial Revolution created. At one extreme, the lower middle class met the new kinds of skilled worker, the engineers and mechanic. At other, it met the upper middle class in retail business, in teaching and medical professionals, and in banking. The lower middle classes tended therefore to be most fluid of all classes. It was the most unstable in political sympathies and consequently often the decisive section of society in election. Better educated than the average working class men, its member helped to provide leadership in labor movements. Several political reforms took place during this era. And free trade and political rise of working class was also a main feature of this society. The repeal of Corn Law in 1846 was a turning point for this society. The mining and metal working classes, which were virtually created by the Industrial Revolution, led to a working class aristocracy and provided a natural leadership in the second half of 19th century. It was from such resources that the trade union movement grew up and achieved national unification by the establishment of the Trade Union Congress in 1868. So students, these were some features of British society during the reign of Queen Victoria, or the Victorian age, that we are first going to read. We are going to discuss the poems written during this Victorian age, first of all, in the study of this paper. Students, thank you very much, and I would like to acknowledge that this video is based on internet resources, and the material has also been taken from some books. Thank you very much, students.